Counter-Strike 2, which is basically Counter-Strike Global Offensive using the new Source 2 engine, has been confirmed by the developers Valve, and this is going to be releasing very soon in the summer of 2023, just later this year, just a few months away now. And in this video, we're going to be going over how this will actually work, how this upgrade will work, how it's going to work when this does release, and also how the beta is working, how you can get your hands on that, and everything we know about Counter-Strike 2 so far. Just everything you need to know and how this is all going to work is the main gist of this video about Counter-Strike 2. So let's waste no more time and let's get straight into the video. So just a couple days before filming this video, on the 22nd of March, Valve did confirm Counter-Strike 2. At first this was called CSGO Source 2, then we had CSGO Global Offensive 2, we've had all sorts of names, and it was actually going to be called CSGO Source 2, and it just got changed literally just before they announced it, and it is now Counter-Strike 2, CS2 basically, is what this is going to be called. And the beta for this has already released. On March 22nd, the day they announced it, they released the beta for this, and we'll go over how you can get access to that beta, or maybe get access to that beta later on in the video. But first, let's go over everything we know about Counter-Strike 2. So Counter-Strike 2 will be the successor to Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and has of course been officially unveiled by Valve. And of course, some people have already got their hands on it, which we'll get into soon. Now, Counter-Strike 2 isn't a sequel in the traditional sense of a sequel. It's not a brand new game, rather a total rework and a refresh based on Valve's Source 2 engine. The Source 2 engine is the newer engine by Valve. Of course, the current CSGO is on the original Source engine, but Source 2 engine is being used for games like Dota 2 by Valve, which of course works very well, and it is going to be implemented into CSGO, which is going to improve loads, and the main improvements are of course due to that Source 2 engine. Pretty much every improvement basically, as plenty of Counter-Strike 2 features and upgrades have been announced, with more to come in the future. But let's first get into some of these upgrades. Of course, all of these are mainly due to this Source 2 engine, but let's get into the first one. And first of all, there is going to be a new smoke grenade redesign. As showcased in the official Counter-Strike 2 responsive smokes video published by Valve, Counter-Strike 2 smoke grenades have been overhauled to make smokes more dynamic. Smoke grenades will react according to the environment they're in, adjusting to fill spaces, and will be influenced by bullets and grenades that pass through them or detonate nearby. The additional interactability will seemingly have a significant impact on the tactical possibilities around the smoke plays. This will have a massive impact on the esports industry as a whole, particularly of course with CSGO. Now with CSGO and esports, it is massive. I'm going to talk about it a bit more later, but CSGO does a massive part in esports, and of course with the smoke grenades changing, players are going to have to adapt to this, and it is definitely for the better. Smoke grenades now really adapt to the environment around them. For example, if bullets are going through them, then that will actually create a small hole in the smoke and everything like that. It will also seep through windows and everything like that. It will work very well and adapt very well, and of course it's just more realistic. At the moment, smoke grenades in CSGO are sort of just a sphere of smoke, and you can just go into there and then you won't be able to see anything. Go out of that, you can see the sort of sphere of smoke. So it's going to be a bit different and just more realistic, and yeah, adapt to its environment. There's also going to be a CS2 tick rate. Also showcased in the Valve official video, CS2 utilizes sub-tick updates to optimize the player experience. Traditionally, the server interprets the state of the game at regular intervals, known as ticks. Because split-second movements and actions are so crucial in games like Counter-Strike or any game where you require a very minuscule amount of latency, there are cases in which this leads to discrepancy between what a player sees and what is registered by the server. The new architecture reportedly eliminates this discrepancy by calculating the actions that take place between ticks, so this will make it a much smoother experience. Now, you won't be having to accuse someone of hacking or anything like that. This will make it a much smoother experience and a much more real experience as well. What you're seeing is what is actually happening, and that is going to be much more likely with this improved tick rate. Another big change due to the Source 2 engine is the map changes, and Valve have announced 3 different approaches to maps in Counter-Strike 2. First of all, there are going to be CS2 overhaul maps. These maps have been remade entirely using the Source 2 engine, so you might actually notice some slight terrain changes along with the graphical upgrades and everything like that. But at the moment, only one map has been confirmed for that, with the release in the summer, and that is Overpass. Then there are upgraded maps. Now these maps are materially identical to their previous incarnations, but have upgraded lighting using the Source 2 physically based rendering system, and so far Nuke has been confirmed for this. Then there is the Touchstone maps. These these maps haven't been adjusted significantly from the original CSGO, but do have new lighting, some new textures, and improved character reads, so some, minor upgrades to basically suit this new engine with CS2, and so far Dust 2 has been confirmed for this with the release in the summer. So of course there are loads of visual effects that have been improved, and new visual effects as well with Counter-Strike 2. There's going to be directional blood effects that show the location and direction of impacts more precisely. You can also see bullet traces from AWPs. You can now see your character's legs and feet and your own shadow when you do look down. There are upgraded environment effects for explosions, fire, C4 lighting, and even more. And there is also new UI and HUD visual effects. There is an audio cue and banner cards at the bottom of the screen when you actually get a kill. Pretty cool addition that we see in games like Call of Duty, and that will be brought with Counter-Strike 2. And there is a mini-map that shows the audible range of sounds you generate when walking and shooting. Pretty cool addition there, which will definitely help in the competitive scene. And of course, professional players will have to adapt to that, since esports, like I mentioned, is massive with CSGO. And there is also some CS2 audio upgrades. Veteran players will also need to adjust to new sound effects and volume levels with Counter-Strike 2. And according to the actual official CS2 website, in-game sounds have been reworked to better reflect the physical environment. They'll be more distinct and express more game states, and they have also been rebalanced for a more comfortable listening experience. Sometimes I have noticed with CSGO, some things are really loud compared to some things being really quiet. Hopefully that'll be evened out and balanced nicely with CS2. And there are some other minor changes that we know about. There is going to be new settings and menu options. There will be a holding mouse 2 which will not scope in twice, instead you must click twice, and some limited beta test players are reporting that movement actually feels noticeably different, so some improved mechanics as well to also add to the mix. Oh, and of course your CSGO items will all carry over to Counter-Strike 2. Any weapon skins and any weapons you've obtained will all carry over. That will all carry over to Counter-Strike 2. Of course, the CSGO market is absolutely massive. People make thousands off of that, and that is all going to carry over. You won't lose anything and nothing will change. That will carry over. The only difference will be that there is going to be improved resolutions on some of the items. So that's of course just an upgrade there, and that will be the only difference. Everything there will stay the exact same regarding your inventory. And there you go. That is all the confirmed information we have regarding the new features and upgrades with Counter-Strike 2. But first of all, now let's talk about the beta with Counter-Strike 2 and how you could maybe get access to that. So Valve have officially spoken out about this, and they have said this: how do I gain access to the Counter-Strike 2 limited test? Players are selected based on a number of factors deemed important by the Counter-Strike 2 development team, including but not limited to recent playtime on Valve official servers, your trust factor, and Steam account standing. And how do you know if you've been selected for the Counter-Strike 2 limited test? If you are chosen to participate in the Counter-Strike 2 limited test, you will receive a notification on the main menu of CSGO. If you receive an invitation, select enroll and begin your downloads. When the download is complete, launch CSGO and select the limited test option to play the Counter-Strike 2 limited test. So the chances of getting into this Counter-Strike 2 beta are of course very, very low. But obviously there's always the chance, so you may as well load up CSGO and see if you've got that invite. Now this is going to be continuously expanding as we get closer to the release in the summer. Valve said that they want to stress test these servers with adding as many players as they possibly can, so there could be maybe a million or two of players that are actually added to this beta. So there's always a good chance that you'll be added. Just make sure you're putting in a decent amount of hours into CSGO, and that's always going to increase your chances, and it certainly won't hurt. So yeah, there's always going to be a chance that you could just get this CSGO 2 beta, but at the same time obviously it is very unlikely. So in terms of how this will work when it does release, this is basically going to completely wipe out CSGO. You can sort of see this with Overwatch and Overwatch 2, where a lot of it is the same game, but they do sort of shove it as a different game. With Counter-Strike 2, it's not quite like that. They're not really advertising it as a completely new game, but it will work in a very similar way, where they shut down these servers for Counter-Strike Global Offensive like they did with Overwatch, and then maybe a couple days later, or as soon as it's shut down, they'll release Counter-Strike 2, which will basically be seen as a new game. It will be received as a separate game, but at the same time it is basically the same game, of course. Now it might work slightly differently with CSGO 2, where of course it isn't actually a separate game. Maybe it's just an upgrade. You download an update for Counter-Strike Global Offensive and it just changes to Counter-Strike 2. We'll have to wait and see how all of that works. But when it comes to the beta, you download it as a separate game. You then load up CSGO and it gives you the option to either launch Counter-Strike 2 or Counter-Strike Global Offensive. So maybe it worked like that, but of course CSGO won't really exist, since it typically with esports games, as soon as the newer one comes out, they shut down the older one, since of course that makes sense for the pro scene. And now I do want to talk about the pro scene. Of course, Counter-Strike Global Offensive has always been massive with esports and massive in the whole gaming industry, and esports has always been seen as one of the biggest games out there when it comes to playing esports games. And we are about to have the final major for CSGO, with the next one being in 2024 for Counter-Strike 2. That allows for the esports players to have time to adapt to Counter-Strike 2 and sort of learn the mechanics of the game, and obviously the maps are slightly changed changing, and smoke grenades especially are changing a lot, and there may also be some other changes to grenades and weapons that we don't know about yet. But there is going to be a lot of changes, and it's going to take time to adapt to that to be able to find the best strategies possible. Just something I wanted to talk about, and how that's going to change. Generally, the pro scene should stay the exact same, and hopefully the numbers will improve if anything, but generally speaking, yeah, they will stay the exact same. But of course, yeah, there's going to be a few differences for the players that they have to adapt to. But either way, that does just about wrap up things here. We've gone through everything we know about Counter-Strike 2, how the beta works, how you could get access, how this will work when it does release, and how this is going to affect the esports industry. And that does just about wrap up things here. Now, on screen now, you're seeing a completely different video, and if you're interested in watching that, then just hit it on the screen now, and you can go ahead and join me over there.